Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and I'm going to be, um, I got to add this to one of the channels. This is odd. Anyway, I'm going to be going through the early slate. I'm just going to do a live build. I have to leave in about a half hour, 40 minutes. So I just wanted to do a live build on both DraftKings and FanDuel. And I don't know if Bobby's going to do a live. What was I going to say? I was going to do a live. I'm going to do this live anyway. Sorry about that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just launch up SaberSim and just kind of do what I do and just kind of show you the process again with sort of updated projections. And I'll show you just kind of like different things that I kind of face when I'm dealing with this. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, tennis already started. I have to see how we're doing. Okay, so these are the projections, but I think like I'm missing some. I think like the San Francisco things I might be missing. Let's see. No, I actually do have San Francisco updated, which is good. Let's look at some of these others that I might not have. Yeah, I think I'm okay with at least what I have. So Detroit, fine. Angels, fine. I'm sorry, the title of this is wrong for some reason. Let's see. Texas looks good. White Sox look good. Do I have the Padres up yet? Padres look good. Cardinals look good, and the rest aren't out yet. So all right, this is all good. So it is a full kind of 6-game slate. Doesn't look like there are any weather concerns. So again, first things first, we're going to just upload the projection. Now again, go to this a zillion times, but projections with respect to MLB are less important than most every sport, and it really comes down to lineup construction. So let's first see what we're going to do here. So we are going to play the lottery for 50 lineups, among other things. So we want to build. I don't want to do multiple builds because I don't have time for each different slate. So let's build 5,000 lineups, with 1,000 to 10,000 entries in mind. That's a good way to do this. And let's just leave the rest of this the same, and we'll hit build lineups here. And again, what's so cool about SaberSim is that you could have it do multiple tasks at the same time. So we'll do the same thing for FanDuel at the same time. Good. And then again, we'll build about 50. Let's make it 54 lineups, I guess. 5,000 we'll build. 20 max setting, I guess, is fine. 1,000 to 10,000 entrants. Rebuild lineups and go. And let's see if we're done with this build yet. Okay, so I do like to see what I would get if I didn't run the Sims, just to see what's out there. And it looks as though Texas is the big deal. Texas, I guess, against Flexen. Now I would get 100% out of 50 lineups, and then in my whole pool of 5,000, I would get like 42% Texas. So Texas is the very popular option. So I imagine that we run the Sims, we're not going to get as much of it, I would imagine. And then the next would be Angels. But then if you look at the whole pool of 5,000, Miami would be next. Colorado is very thin today for some reason. I don't know why that would be. Okay. Let's then go to the pitchers on DraftKings and see what we would get. And this is before we apply any of the sims. This is just based on projections. We get 66%. We would get of our 50, 66% Eovaldi and 40% Savali, followed by Nelson and the finest Birdsong. Then if you look at the pool, again, it's pretty well spread out between all these guys. We talk about this as far as picking out what type of field to use for our contest sims. And I don't like it when the pool is like that smooth. I mean, there's usually one or two guys that kind of take over some of this popularity. So we'd like to kind of pick a contest field that better represents that. Let's also, while we're here, so much time, put this aggregate metric thing in here. So what that's going to allow us to do is keep track of what the average projected score of our portfolio is. So that when you make changes, like let's say we want to go to Min Uniques 2, it'll see how that affects the average projection. Let's also figure out what type of stack exposure we're going to allow. I usually like to X out the Bow Wow stacks, but it's doing a good enough job of that for me. So I'll just kind of just stay hands off there. And then let's take a look at the contest sim settings that we're using. So, like for example, let's look at the relay throw, and we can check to see what the field is that we're going to use if we opt for the relay throw. So, for the flagship MME, and when you look at this and you hit the players tab, it will show you what you'd be getting. And it actually is a little more, top heavy, a little more towards Eovaldi, and I think that makes sense. So this is why I'm inclined to use the SaberSim one today. And also, it gets us more Miami, which I think is more likely, and more Colorado, which is more likely. This is very, I think this is much more representative than something like my own 5,000. So that's what we're going to use. And you could double check that for each of these fields, like to see if what you're comparing the walk-off home run to. We go back into contests and go into high stakes. No, actually, they're using high stakes 20 max, right? And you'll be able to see that in that contest, they have a little more Miami and Texas. And pitching wise, I think pretty similar. Eovaldi pretty popular. But what I like to do is I like to put check out the high stakes MME one. And it's a little bit smoother. So I'm going to use high stakes MME actually. Ooh, this is a close call today. Whether I use high stakes MME or high stakes 20 max. Let's what else are we playing today? Playing the warning track. What do we have for that? That's 3 max. That we'll use high stakes 20 max for that one. And then we'll use high stakes MME for this one. And diversify our contest fields a little bit. And this we're going to keep single entry. This is we're going to keep flagship MME. And we're going to be off to the races. And now the fun part, of course, is not seeing who we have. But who needs that, right? All right. So we hit contest sims, and now we're going to keep this average projection thing up here. We're also going to keep this thing up here. I'm not going to keep. I don't want to be swayed by who we're actually getting to, but I do want to be swayed with what the context, the type of stack we're getting is. And I don't really care who we're getting. So let's take a look first at the. Where you go? Well, I'll click walk-off home run. And then I'll even hide the players this way. Can I hide the players? I guess I can't hide the players. But we'll do this again before we go anyway. So, wait, did we even do this? Hold on. Yeah, walk-off home run. So let's do this one more time. We'll click away from. I like to do this sometimes with Saber, so I like to click away from it and then back to it just in case. So single entry, we're good. Put that one in the single entry. And we'll probably change this one more time before. But this is. I mean, the process is much more important than we actually end up getting. So we're going to do again like just a top lineup in the walk-off home run, and then in the warning track, we'll do the top one, whatever it is, and we're gonna late swap as usual anyway, if we can. I don't know if we have time today. And then for the relay throw, let's see how interesting this is. So relay throw, okay. So you see it starts with 97.39 average projection if it's based on min uniques 2. Now, the other thing that you'll see is that you're starting to, have a little bit of bow wow stacks here, and I don't like the 4 3s. That's a little bit too non-correlated for me. So I will I will X these out. And I'll keep in just the five-man stacks and the 4 4s. And so now we have a 97.3 average projection. So let's see how many min uniques we can get away with before it starts to really get dinged. So here you lost 0.8 of a point. That's not bad. We didn't lose almost anything there. And that's not only loses something, but it starts to bring these non-traditional stacks into play. So that's a sign for me. So I'm going to keep it at min uniques 4. And we will just kind of plow that in. And we'll check on the tennis in a minute. By the way, for those of you that watch the golf thing, I mean, I really, just took a pretty heavy stand on Hideki. And he's like no % owned. I mean, he's got a big old Q tag. And he could drop out at any moment. But you know what? If he does, I have other lineups out there. I think it's the chances that his ownership is being impacted more from the rumor of, his 50 to 60% health than it's worth. So I think that 30 golfer slate where it's tough to be unique anyway, I think that was the right thing to do. We'll see. Well, I mean, the good thing is if he drops out, I could always say that in the long run, I would have done well. So who knows? All right, let's go to FanDuel. We'll do the same thing over there. Did we upload these already? I think we did, but just in case. Again, I forgot if we did this. That's how out of sorts I am. Actually, we can tell because if you look at build 1, it'll see when we did it. Yeah, it was 12:06, so we're actually good with that. So now we're at build 1 at 12:06. And then let's take a look at the contest sim settings. Again, we are going to go with the regular Saber sim settings, with the exception is we are going to go back to high stakes MME for the monster. And then squeeze will save. But again, just to show you the difference, let's look at my build and see what we would get. Pool exposure, as far as pitchers go, we'd be getting 28% gray, 23% king, and then stack exposure, team stacks. As far as the pool goes, we'd be getting 43% Miami and 38% Colorado, as opposed to if you use, say, the Saber Sim ones. Let's see what looks better. In Saber Sim, you click players, you'd get, as far as team stacks go, it's pretty similar, actually. Maybe a little more Texas. So it doesn't make too much of a difference. Which one of these you use. So in this particular situation, because there are people using the Saber Sim stock portfolios, just to be different, I think, just for fun on this slate, I'll use mine. I'll use build 1 as the field for the squeeze. build one, squeeze. And then we'll keep these. We'll move the monster to high stakes MME. Grand Slam we'll keep at mid stakes, I believe. And then we're just off to the races. Now, with respect to stack exposure, again, I would rather have all 4 4s and 4 3s. So let's see what we get. And again, let's put in this aggregate ownership, this aggregate metric in, average projected score, so we can keep track of what we're doing here. So 122.32. But let's start with the monster, I guess. But let's take rid of the 4 2s. I don't think we need 4 2 2s or 4 2s. I think we can get away with 4 4s and 4 3s on this slate. Actually, the 4 2 2s I should probably keep, because I was seeing there was getting a decent amount of them. So yeah, we'll keep those. So we'll put our one line up into the monster, and then the Grand Slam we'll sort by risk adjusted ROI there. And because it's the same contest, we could do some min unique business. So you go to min uniques 2. Doesn't seem like anything's really moving on me though, so I have to. I'm going to run this again, and when you don't see a lot of changes in the lineups when you run these things, it couldn't hurt just to click run contest sim again, because sometimes it gets stuck. So let's see. So just for the hell of it, we go back, for example, to Monster and see if anything really changed of consequence. No, it didn't. All right, so that is something to note. Keep that. And then let's go into the Slam. So we're getting some similar stuff here, actually. It's getting pretty chalky for a Saber Sim build. I'm a little concerned about this. I mean, not enough for me to just ignore it, but yeah, I mean, it looks like just all kinds of Colorado, Miami. Let's just see how many min uniques we can get to before we get yelled at here. So it was 120.76. Now it goes to 119.8. Now it goes to, all right, so now we dropped 2 points, so let's pull that back. And we have all the right types of stacks, so looks like it's going to be all about this Miami-Colorado game. It's not really like Saber Sim to make me jam this stuff, but I guess it's testament to how good a player probably is. Anyway, let's upload these. And we should be kind of off to the races. Now, again, we don't have the. What is interesting is you look through some of these, and we're leaving a lot on the table. A lot on the table, which is interesting. Maybe I need to mess around a little bit. Let's see what we have. Like for right now, for in the squeeze, it looks like all this Colorado, Miami, like 94%. Even when you're applying the contest sims? Well, I wonder if instead of build one, let's go back to flagship MME just for the hell of it. And see if that changes anything and makes it look a little more normal. Because I really prefer to not play 90% Colorado. But no matter what I do, it seems to. I mean, it seems to really like these Colorado Miamis. Let's do this all over again, just for the hell of it. See if anything changes. I don't think anything. Even if we made it it's still just jamming. or not as much, but it's still pretty jammed. And then Grand Slam. Oh, finally we get some Mets or something. But they're really a believer in this Colorado game. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, you trust the process and then you just leave it, or you manually reduce your exposure there. Anyway, this is what my process is getting me. I'll be back later for the main slate, but we got secret stuff to do with the Mrs. Sheets now. So I'm gonna get on that, and I guess that's gonna do it. No questions, good.